And so last week we were talking about when we go into people's houses or wherever you may be, get curious about what types of foods they're
Yeah, I
eating.
did see the handout on the salt and stuff like that.
Oh, good, yeah, because salt is very, very prevalent now in America. There's the sodium and salt intake is like massive. They add it
Mm,
to everything, and same with sugar, of course.
yeah.
Now, one of the dementias that we can all help ourselves with is vascular dementia. And when people have high blood pressure, that is one of the things that can cause vascular dementia. Now, we are in control of that because who's in control of us, everybody?
We are.
We are.
Allegedly.
And I mean, I say that to my clients all the time. I don't know if you do, Gary. You might not necessarily, because
Yeah.
they may probably feel as though the cancer is in control of them. However, when we are guiding our clients to make informed choices to prevent, and I can only imagine, preventative things of making any cancer any worse is also something that you might like to do. To say, so Gary, you've got somebody who has had cancer. Now it's their choice whether they carry on smoking.
Yeah.
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 It's their choice now whether they're going to, because say they've had the chemo, say they've had the radiation, everything is gone. The MRIs are showing they are clear. All right. Now we all have cancer cells in us. We all have little bad cells. It's whether we're going to get them going, oh, I quite like all this sugar, and let's multiply again, or whether we're going to keep them at bay. And we do that by eating and drinking healthily and with no smoke. So when we have people who come to us anyway, if for any kind of weight management, and they come to us for they say they've got high blood pressure, there are things that they can do. And I hold my hand up. I have actually had somebody who has had a stroke, two strokes, and they were addicted to sugar. And well, I said, okay. And I said, you know, you're in your 60s, and now you might like to think about getting rid of this sugar addiction, because actually you may well be prone to getting vascular dementia. I said, let me do a little test on you. And I did the MOCA test.
Mm.
He was absolutely fine. He was 30 out of 30. And I thought he would be. But I know that would have worried him. And good, because that's called a little bit of a shock. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have shock, that can cause change work. Yeah. Because the thought of getting vascular dementia, which crossroad do you want to go to? If you're at the middle, do you want to go down the path of eating and getting the dementia, or do you want to eat healthily? What are you going to choose? Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Beer and Coca-Cola.
yeah. So, and poor old Gary's listening to this when he's fully aware that we know he drinks Coke, and you don't snort it, but you drink it.
Yeah.
So, but it's the fact is that it's when you do that with somebody, it's like, okay, all right. So this is why we're so curious as to what they're doing, and we may well want to find out about their blood pressure. They will tell you, because they will have checkups, and people are into their blood pressure. Do you know your? I actually tend to have low blood pressure, which is can also be just as bad.
Mm.
Uh,
Well, mine's a bit of a strange one because I haven't. I've got a thing that I don't use very often, which always comes up as mine's very high. And when I used to have medicals when I was in industry, they always used to say, "Oh, you need to go and see your doctor. Your blood pressure is really, really high." And what is quite strange is when I use an electronic measurement one, it comes as high. When I use the old-fashioned mercury ones, it comes down as normal.
oh,
I mean, it's on the high side of normal, but it is, because the doctors always turn around and say, why have they sent them you to us? Because yeah, it's at the high end of normal, but yeah, that's it. We don't need to do anything.
Oh, strange, isn't it?
Hmm.
I don't know. I actually have a blood pressure machine in my office.
Yeah,
Do
I
you
have,
carry on?
but as I said,
Well, it's kind of in my office. It's in my husband's part behind the curtain. Yeah,
What?
he has to watch every day. He has to take his blood pressure and oxygen.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
we do that. We
Mm-hmm.
do. I don't all the time, but I do. I don't know whether it was yesterday or the day before or whatever. Um, I think I was 109/73.
Yes, you're low.
Oh, so I'm in a low. I'm not low. I don't like it when my low number gets down into the 60s. Then I don't feel well. And
Mm-mm.
other people say they feel just fine, that my brother was telling me his was really, really low. And it goes down in the 50s sometimes. And I said, man, I would be sick. I just don't feel good
No.
when I get too low. They love it. The doctors and they all love it. They think it's perfect.
No, it's actually not as good either, because you could almost, because you're on, you're the type of person that could come out of a hot bath and faint,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
hit yourself, hurt your
I
head.
did accidentally uh I don't know, a couple months ago, I took a hot bath with Epsom salts, but I put too much Epsom salts in it, and like twice the amount that I should have. And I got out and I was just so, so faint. And I took my blood pressure and it was extremely low, extremely. It was down, the low number I think was in the 40s.
Yeah,
Yeah. Or it
yeah,
could have been
that's way
50,
too low.
whatever. It was really low. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I told Chuck, get the electrolytes, whatever I need to get this up. I've never had to do that. I've never had that particular thing happen.
Yeah, and
I don't do
it's
much
much.
magnesium.
If we do have people who are of the low kind,
Mhm.
it's better to just say, right, just sit down, or literally get on the floor now before you fall down.
Yeah.
It's like, because when you're on the floor, you can't really fall.
No, there you go.
you
There
know
you go.
and I used to do that because I went very low blood pressure when I was pregnant, and it would be like I would be, and I'd just like make sure I'd get down before I fell down.
Right.
And the best thing to do is raise somebody's legs so that the blood goes back up,
Mm.
to the blood. But yeah, I'm a fainter, so know what you're dealing with people.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to ask about their blood pressure. Most of our people who are going to get vascular dementia have got high blood pressure,
Mm.
and that is actually very common to have high blood pressure. And actually, anything over 120 over whatever is high. So people think, the average is 120. Actually, the good average is 115 over 75. It's not 120 over 80. That's actually high. So I've sent you some bits and pieces today by email, so you can just print those off. And there's things about like BMI and stuff like that, which again, you've got tall people, you've got people who who do weights and things like that. So it's going to be different for everybody, with stuff. And but we just generally know, you can see if somebody, what they look like, if they're overweight or not. And so but this is just for your tools. You probably got stuff like this already. Now I just do want us to make sure that we really understand that we have an opportunity here with somebody to help them make change. Because if they're saying, oh, they've got vascular dementia, well, actually, or you know that we're seeing somebody and they've say had a stroke, you know, maybe once, twice, then that the small ischemic attacks, they add up, and then that is when people can get more vascular dementia. So if you know friends of yours, or you know family members or people who have had some strokes, you say, I can help. And let's make sure that we get you healthy so that that doesn't happen again, and we don't get vascular dementia. They will work with you if you use that word. It's a scary word. Dementia, vascular dementia. I know we don't want to go around scaring people. However, if it's for their good, then and you can do something about it, because otherwise, what's the use of us if we're sitting on information? Yeah. So we go in and we check on the salts. We check on, so anything to do with high blood pressure, hypertension, that we can help with. And that's what we're going to do a few weeks on, with anger and all things like that. Fear of death. We can, and that comes into so many of these sorts of things. People can raise their own blood pressure with their own fears and anger and things like this. So with the, like I said, I've sent you the things through so you can read through those. And I don't know if this is going to help with you as well, Carrie-Anne, because we know your husband has been having some issues. Is he okay now? What's going on?
No, he is. We're just trying to get his heart strong enough so that he can maybe get a stent.
The stents.
Yeah, it's not been good, but he's getting better and better every day. He's getting stronger. He's doing a little bit more. He's, I told him, I said, every hour I want you to get up. He has a tendency, to say, oh, Carrie, will you get me this or will you get me that? And at first when he came home, I was happy to do it. But then I said, no, you're going to have to get it up yourself and go do those things. And so he's been doing that. And today he's, did a few things this morning already. But then he gets tired easy. He does get tired easy because his heart is, it's getting stronger, but, takes a little bit of time.
Yeah. And so this is why we can help people as well with things like that. So, and it's about, good choices of food, and we know what they are. We all know the good choices. And I know you do as well, Gary.
I just don't do them.
He just chooses not to. However, I wouldn't be surprised if you share this with your clients, though.
Oh yeah, I can do that. Do what I tell you, not what I do.
It's it's just all good sources. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and read it all to you because you can read it yourselves. Now it's interesting. So I mentioned because we're all going to see people and we're going to do hypnosis with them as well. Do you both know the crossroads one? The where you take somebody to a crossroad and then they can either go down that path or that path.
Very, very seldom, but yeah.
Do you ever use that?
Not
you might not in your work.
No, I don't tend to use it much, even with general stuff.
Yeah, I don't either.
Don't you?
I know it. And if if it comes up, I could use it, but I don't use it. Typically.
Okay. So I
have other ways though that I had asked them to make a choice. I do a movie theater or whatever, I'll say, you can sit there and just watch the movie, or you can get into it and make the choice to jump into it and be a part of that movie and you know, that kind of thing.
And that's another one as well. So
Yeah,
that one,
but it's the same
yeah,
type of thing. You know, it's about making a choice.
it's about making a choice.
Yeah.
I like it because I make it really horrible. Because
Oh,
first of all, it's the easy path. So the left-hand side, the left path is like quite easy because it's what they've always been doing. So it's the path well trod. However, see yourself, so it's a future progression. See yourself a year down the line, 5 years, a few more, and then 10 years, and you have your family around your hospital bed crying. Why couldn't you make? I really wish you'd stop doing that. Why couldn't you change with it? So whether that be a sugar addiction, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be smoking, you know, family members around the bedside crying.
Yeah, I do that, but not in the way that you said it. I tend to do it as part of my parts sessions, and I do it as the swish technique. So I give both options of the through the swish technique. So we start off with a horrible scenario, and then we have picture within picture with the good one, and then we do the swish with it. So that's how I do it.
Okay, nice. So you do what you do, but I actually even have them at the grave.
Oh my gosh, it's really.
I normally do the deathbed scene with smokers.
Yeah, I know. They're actually, yeah, the deathbed with smokers, absolutely. They actually see their grave. Now that's your grave. And the epitaph might even say, "We wish he could have stopped smoking." And it's like, it's quite horrifying. But and I go, that's not very nice, this one, is it? Should we go back to the center point? Now let's go back the other path. 1 year making changes. Yes, it's a bit difficult at first because you have to consciously make the changes. But the new path is always going to be a little bit rough and bumpy because they have to make change. And then it's like, and then you future progress them, and then you bring them, and they're living and they're making the memories, and they're looking healthy, looking the way they want to look. And then they come back to the fork in the road, and you can talk to me in hypnosis now, which path do you want to go down, the left one or the right one? And I've never had anybody say the left one.
Right.
Gary, you may well be the only person who might say that if I did it with you. But it's like most people choose the other one. As I say, everybody. And I go, now let's carry on doing that. And you know, you can anchor it in, you can do all sorts of things. Like I say, if you're a fan of the swish, then you can do various things with that, or carry on the movie. I use movies as well. So most definitely. A movie theatre, there's all sorts of things we can do, but I quite like that Crossroads one. I find it very effective. I know somebody stopped taking Coke just after one session of me doing that with them. So it's not drinking the Coke, taking the Coke. But they had actually lost all their family already.
Oh. Yeah.
So it's so I just carried on with that they never even came back, wanted nothing to do with him. It's really mean. But it's the only way to do it, you know.
Yeah.
Because we know that the mind doesn't know if it's real or imagined.
That's right.
Now, here's so again, and we can lower with the control room. I'm sure you're both aware with the control room. Gary, you most certainly are.
I teach that on my course as well. It's in my script book, so variation on it.
Yeah, it's like it's just massive, because we know that so I was doing stage with Rich Guzzi in Las Vegas, and the one of the skits, somebody was feeding everybody, they all had to eat hot dogs. You had to eat 100 hot dogs for this competition, all right? And there was a man there, and he was diabetic, and his thing was going beep, 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 beep. The mind didn't know if it was real or imagined.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Amazing.
That just shows what we can do.
Yeah.
and it had shot up like 100 points or whatever had happened. But Renee, actually, she worked with him afterwards to lower it down. You know, it's like it's unbelievable. So just how much that worked, and instantly. So even in stage, so we know that these things are very effective of what we can do. So but then they have to consciously do it, of course, you know. But you know, as I say, if they have that little bit of help, and do you do recordings for people?
Sometimes, not always, but yeah, typically I give recordings.
Yeah, so I do just from my phone, except I've got a new phone now, which like seems really great, but it's like these things have all changed again.
Yeah.
So I got to get another one because that doesn't fit now. And
Yeah, you got to blame the EU for that.
Who have I got to blame?
European Union.
Oh, why did they do that?
Because they decided for protect the environment. They were saying that too many leads were being thrown away and people needed too many leads. So they actually brought in a rule that all phones had to have a USB-C charger and nothing else, and they would ban anything from the European Union for sale that didn't. So obviously Apple changed to USB-C because they would lose that market.
Oh, so now that one is just is one for Europe as well then.
It's everything. It's the same as Samsung. All phones now will use the same one, sort of Samsung.
Yeah. I have a little converter.
Yeah, but
I have a little converter that I can
going
stick in, and then
going
put
forward,
the
certainly in Europe, all mobile phones, iPads, everything else, all have to have the same charger,
Oh,
charging lead.
okay.
So that's what it is. So everybody's going online because otherwise they just wouldn't get any sales in Europe.
Right. Okay. Oh, well, so it just means that some things won't work then. Okay, that's all right.
they
Okay.
kind of keep doing that kind of thing for us.
But then that stops. Then that's just going to be it. So that's the last time.
People won't be allowed to change to anything else.
Okay. Well, that's
not unless everybody changes. You know, they all agree a new format going forward, which that will take forever.
no. Well, fair enough. Okay, but at least that's. I don't mind if it's just once, but if it's going to happen again every 2 years, it's like really annoying.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Okay, so
the EU decided that was going to be the standard, and everybody had to adhere to it.
yeah. So what do you find happens with most people's blood pressure with the cancer? Does cancer actually affect people's blood pressure in any way, or is it so an individual thing?
Never investigated it, to be honest. Not looked into that.
I wonder if it is because I think it's more heart and probably the brain than cancer related.
Yeah.
However, food, the general health isn't. And so we encourage, so along with the high blood pressure and diet goes along exercise.
Yeah.
And making things fun to exercise. So we need to think now, this is where we really do help our clients because we help them think outside the box of what do they like to do. Most of our clients that we're going to see are set in their ways and are probably more mature. They're not going to be, they're going to be, we have early onset dementia, but they're probably going to be people with Alzheimer's and vascular dementia. So we're probably looking at people who are in their mid 60s onwards. Okay. So what do people like to do exercise wise? Let's think outside the box. How can we make it fun? I
just walked to the pub and back.
There you go.
He says he walks to the pub.
And you're walking. How far away is it?
Well, there's two. My local one is about 15-minute walk each way, and the other one in town is about 35 minutes. But I cheat on that one because it's a high hill, so I walk there and bus back.
Yeah, but you still walk there. Okay. So that's good. Okay. Now it's then Gary's choice and what he has to drink. All right. But that's the kind of thing. But the thing is that to a pub, we would then encourage them, say, not to necessarily drink, but they're going to the pub and Gary, you don't sit there on your own and drink, do you?
No, no, it's a social thing because I see clients all day. It's a bit of a lonely profession, so I go and sort of chat to people. And again, we have, a lot of different types of people there. I mean, my local, it's quite funny. Everybody is treated equally, and well, you know what the British sense of humour is like. So I mean, I've got a couple of friends that I drink with. One's an airline pilot. One's a top lawyer. Another one is a chief inspector, or no, detective inspector. And so on. So it's all different, but typical British sense of humour. There's no respect for anybody like that. I mean, we call the detective inspectors known as Clouseau, and the airline pilot we refer to as the bus driver, and so that's all that sort of stuff.
And that's brilliant because Gary's going to socialize.
Yeah.
And that is perfect.
And he's going to go and do that now because I've got to go and meet the team and.
Okay. All right. So on that note, so Gary's left us with a fun note. Anyway, it's going to be recorded, Gary.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, then.
See you next week, hopefully.
Yep.
All right. Take care.
Right.
Bye. Bye. Good luck. Bye.
Okay.
So it's like so that's perfect. So we've got the whole thing of a walk. He doesn't have to have a beer. He chooses to have one. The idea would maybe have one and then not have any more, but it would be like so that he's having enough, he's still living. But then what I loved was the whole thing of the camaraderie.
Yeah.
And that's how we get creative. So it's like, what can people do? So in England, it is a little bit easier because people live in towns and there are locals, pubs and things.
Yeah.
Where you live now, so I live in a neighborhood. Could I walk to the local pub? There is one. So I probably could actually, because there is one now, but it's a bit dangerous because there's no, be on the grass and stuff, and there's cars like that.
Yeah, we actually have. I live in the mountains, and so and the roads and the sidewalks now they've created here for us are just beautiful. I can walk into town. I really don't. It's a bit more than I like to walk, and it's downhill. So when I going uphill, it's a different thing. Some people have their spouses drive down and pick them up after they've done that kind of a walk.
Oh yeah, no, it's nice. Just like Gary said, he walks in, but then he'll get the bus back because it's uphill.
Yeah.
So you're right, you could, but there's no buses.
We're very hilly here. And so it's the same, we're, like I say, we live in the mountains, so.
Are you in Sedona?
No, I'm close to Sedona. I'm about 45 minutes to an hour away from Sedona, depending upon which way you go. There's a couple different ways. Yeah, I'm not very far at all.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's, we don't have the red rocks here, but we have granite mountains. So granite is a big, they're really beautiful too. But in a different way. You don't have all the color and everything that the red rocks have. But
yeah. But that's
hiking
ideal.
is big here. A lot of people hike here.
A lot of people hike.
And mountain climb. Yeah, a lot of people do that.
So for our clients, we want to encourage them to walk.
Yeah.
Okay. And now weights are also.
Now, I think walking is good for that right left brain activity. I think walking is really, really good. I know even as I had the vertigo thing, my doctor said, walk. I want you to walk as much as you can because that's balancing the brain out.
Yeah. Yeah, anything that's left
too.
and right. That's
Left
why
and right.
if they, so it's like, so what other activities can we encourage them to do? So I was going to say light weights is
Mhm.
also very good. And it's like, as you can say, they can be left and the right. They can do that. So
Right.
say this is a dumbbell,
Mhm.
like a £2 one, yeah,
Yeah.
or a £1 one. Now you tell me what I'm doing with my eyes.
You're watching it with your eyes too.
Yeah, they're going left and
So
right.
that's good.
So it's a pass off, yeah. So that's like
Yeah.
bilateral
I teach all
stimulation
my
as
stress
well.
management that I have a little ball that I give them, little stress ball,
Yeah.
my
So there's
information on it, and they
yeah.
can do this. Yeah.
And then when people it's like playing an instrument is also actually quite energetic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we do have clients who did used to play, do you still have it? It's like clarinet, the
It's
flute,
really good. Yeah.
piano is left and right.
Have you ever heard, I don't know if I've mentioned it or not to you before. Have you ever heard of something called oxysize?
Oh,
It's a breathing exercise, and it really probably a 20-minute thing is as much as an hour walk somewhere. Because
really?
generate
No, I haven't then.
so much
Okay.
oxygen. And the idea is to bring in the oxygen through your mouth but kind of through your nose, but kind of smiling, and then exhaling, actually keeping the smile because it exercises the jowls and stuff too. And
Oh,
then the exhale is the stomach, extends out like almost like a yoga type of thing. And then when you exhale, it's like, so you're really exercising that core.
okay.
And you're doing isometric types of exercises. Maybe you'll do this while you're doing that. It's a great, great exercise. I'm trying to get my husband into doing that now because for the oxygen. And they have different levels. They have for people who are more sedentary, older people or whatever who can't get out. Maybe they've got, knee problems, hips problems, whatever. They have things for them too. But the main idea is the breathing, and it's just,
So where did you find out about that, Carrie Ann?
you know what, I choose to remember where I found out about it. I think, I don't know if it was because it's been a while. I've used that for a while. I don't, I'm on and off with it. Sometimes I do it and then sometimes I don't.
How do you spell it?
But
Because I'm going to put that on.
Oxycise. So oxysize.com is what you would go to, and you can, and now it's an app. So you can put it on your TV, you can put it on your phone, you can put it wherever and do the exercises. And gosh, it's been probably, I don't know, almost 10 years maybe. I think I saw it on a commercial on the computer or something. I don't know if it was Facebook. I have
It's
no,
on YouTube.
but I saw it. Somehow I saw it. And I thought that it sounds very interesting. And I clicked onto it. Well, I had all the DVDs before. So I would recommend to my clients, especially my weight loss clients, to use that because a lot of them have, oh, I have knee problems and I can't do this or that anymore, or I have to lose weight so I can get knee surgery or whatever. But
Yeah,
that, it's a huge amount of oxygen brought into the body. You kind of,
it is.
and
Looks
it
like it.
gives so much. I always feel so much more energetic when I do it. So there's different, you know,
Wow.
ways to do. Yeah.
Wow. I just love that. Okay, I've put that as a post on
Yeah.
group. Thank you, Carrie Ann.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
Go to it and just play around, watch
Yeah.
it, because it's very, very good. And now
Well,
they're moving into different things now too, because some of that breathing is similar to pelvic floor types of things. So now they're incorporating that, or they're incorporate all kinds of different things into it.
yeah, no, that's perfect. Because that's exactly what I was after, was the kind of thing, let's get creative. And I hadn't heard of that. So it's so I love it.
Yeah.
You know, so that hadn't been, say, mentioned in our my brain health coaching course. So now it's wonderful that we can share that.
Yeah, because
And
that's
it's been around
generated
for 10 years.
oxygen as well.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just like, especially for people with COPD.
Yeah. Yeah. They would do it according to what would be comfortable to them. Of course, some people can breathe.
Or just with anything, you can only do it to your own capacity, your own level. Same with walking, same with what weight can you lift up.
Right.
So, but it's and what I love is that looks like there's groups, because when you're doing something again in a group, or even if you're doing it with YouTube or whatever, you feel as though you're with people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the community thing. Because with dementia, anybody living with that is so isolating.
Yeah.
And it's all about friendships. And not being
doing different things. Now because my husband can't go out as much, although now I got him to, let's go and walk the garden. So we walked he has a huge garden. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's so big. And so I said, well, let's go walk through the garden. So we walked yesterday and we did some things. And I said, every day we'll do a little bit more or whatever. So now he's starting to get back into, I mean, he was moving boulders before. So this is, not doing a lot isn't, So anyway, his sisters, now this would be something to think about too. His sister, Dolly, and their family, I guess during COVID, they would play euchre on over Zoom. I guess there's a euchre app, and I don't know whether different people can chime into it or whatever.
What is euchre?
Euchre is a card game.
Okay.
I don't ask me to explain it because I don't really know how, but that's what they did. And Chuck knows how to play euchre. And so they all called they called yesterday and they said, get on Zoom. We're all on Zoom. And I got him on Zoom and laid out the plan that once a week we would all get together, and as many people who wanted to could play euchre on Zoom. So they would have their little euchre app on their phone and they can play. They can all play together.
And it's interesting because I know that Beryl Coma, she plays Mahjong a lot and has taught people how to do that. But it's about playing games, any type of game. And it is interesting because when the next generation comes along, they'll probably be playing Pokemon. So they'll be, just by the nature of it, it's just how things have, will just change. But chess, it's a sport, it's a kind of sport, because now we're moving to our brain exercising.
Right.
But when we're doing that, we're also making ourselves, because we're smiling, we're doing those things, and we're not eating generally, we're playing. And so it's doing exercise, it through play. And any kind of thing like that is going to be good for us. However, I do really like the one that you've just come up with, that you've mentioned, is the oxycide.
I hope you go on their or their just oxysize.com.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've put it on the
Really.
on the
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
just
So
to
I just re-signed up so that I had the app, you know. I don't know what it is. It wasn't very much, $10 or something, or something, $9 or something a month. I choose to remember because I wanted the app. I wanted to have it on my computer and on the TV.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
so, because I used to watch DVDs, but now I can just click into the app on my smart TV and I can do that.
yeah, and it'll
So,
come on. So
yeah.
that's no, that's
Yeah, but they have a lot of different kinds of things. I think you really enjoy it, but it is about that breathing is huge, huge.
yeah. No, I
I
like
mean, I would say I doubled my capacity and my energy when I was doing it. So now that I've got it again, you know, and Chuck is getting a little healthier, I'll start doing it again,
yeah, and
actually.
do it with him. Yeah, and then you both.
Yeah, that's my intent, is to see if maybe he'll do it. They give you the woman who invented it or whatever. I don't know if she's the same woman that is explaining it now or not. Um, but she goes through the breathing part of it first so that people really get acclimated to breathing and breathing that deep breath. And then when they feel comfortable with that and doing it standing and sitting and, laying down or whatever, that then they're ready to start the exercise things. So it's really great. Really
Yeah,
is.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I like that idea. And then there's, I mean, swimming, you see, if people have a pool by them, again, it's like, is there something that can, that's safe? Is there lots of rails? Is there lots of whatever? So it depends where people are living. But of course, swimming is so wonderful for because it's buoyant and people, do tend, as we get older, we get arthritis and we get whatever, and people can't always walk that far.
Well, if they're older and there's a Y around, they can get the silver sneakers thing and it doesn't cost them a thing.
Okay, so that's in America. So
That's in America. Yeah,
what's that?
it is the YMCA.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Young Men's or YWCA or whatever. That's the Young Men's or Women's. Um,
Association, I
so
suppose.
no, I'm trying to think of what the exact words. YMC is. Um, it's like a club type of thing, but really it's a workout center. They have all kinds of yoga and um, exercising types of things, Pilates and bicycling. And they have all these things and they have weights. You can go in and use the weights, but they all have a pool. Most all of them
Okay.
have. So you can go into the pool and, but that costs nothing.
Right. So it's about, yeah, and then of course it's about getting
If you have Social Security, which is
right,
63 here in America, then you can get a silver sneakers pass, like,
right.
and
Okay,
use those facilities that way.
okay, okay.
But I think it used to be kind of a refuge too for young women and men who really didn't, have a place. I know I worked with a program in Michigan in the inner city called Reaching Higher. It was just a wonderful program. But one of the other gals that worked there would often tell her story. She was in a household that was extremely abusive. I'm not sure. I choose to remember if there was alcohol involved or whatever, but she went to her principal in her school and she said, you know, I can't live at home anymore. What can I do? And the principal got her hooked up with YMCA or YWCA or whatever. So she moved out of the house when she was like 14, 15 years old and moved into the YWCA.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So,
good.
and was able to be there. I don't think it cost her anything because she didn't have any money really. She was in high school, but she was a good student and she didn't want to be in the environment that she was in any longer.
Well, good for her. Good for her.
Good for her
The
principal.
environment is massive, and that's
It is
why. So,
huge.
and if somebody's environment is as such, we might not the nature of it, because they won't necessarily be in touch with us if their environment is as such, because we won't be, they can help themselves. So and that sometimes just boils down to education, it just does. So, but most people that come and ask us to come in to see them, they sometimes will be educated, but they just don't know that they have a choice.
Yeah.
And that's where we come in. You can do something. You can. That blood pressure can be lowered. You can help yourself from getting vascular dementia. You can. Same with all those other things, because all those things, diabetes, type 2, they all can lead to vascular dementia. So it's like, what can we do? But and as I say, I just love that whole idea that the oxysize.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll like it. You'll like it a lot.
Yes, that's a really good one to add in.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Yeah.
And it would be something you could even do with your clients, if you're there, because you sounds like are engaging them in activity of some kind when you're there.
I couldn't agree more. It's like it's hypnotic.
Yeah.
So it's like 5 minutes of that or 10 minutes, and then and then they do it. Now you do it. So you're going to teach the caregiver, the care partner, to do it. And as you said, you're doing it with them, just keep reminding them to do it until maybe they get the app, or even if they don't get the app, you've still shown them just a few minutes every day.
Yeah.
Because that's
I often, with my weight loss people, I often would have people that would say, I can't exercise. I can't move much. They're either very obese or they have bad hips or bad legs, especially if they're older. So.
But they can breathe.
But they can breathe. They have to. Have to breathe.
And they can hold, and eventually they'll be able to do more and more and more.
Right. And I love the fact that she actually encourages people when they're breathing in to smile, because that in itself is a huge uplifting thing, right?
Yeah, because the brain doesn't know if it's real or imagined. So if it's just smiling, it knows it's happy.
Yeah.
Fake or not fake, doesn't matter. And the fact that you're breathing out while still
accent and out, it's like, the pursing, but instead of going like this, which brings in all the little wrinkles and all that kind of thing.
No.
To help us.
Yeah. Now I've got terrible wrinkles there. Okay, no, I like that. I like that a lot. I will, as you can see, because I'm like really mulling it over in my head. my little grey cells are going ping, 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 ping. All right, so I'm going to stop there recording, because that was really useful.